Well, good morning, everyone. I think we are live. It says 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Let's see what's going on here. I see we got a few people in the house already. First, looks like Van Vita. Hello, Paula. Thank you for coming. And Kaylee, of course. Thank you so much, dear. We have Going Green Mom, who we're going to talk with today. And I think I'm going to be your guinea pig. I gave her more information about me than she probably wanted to know. But hey, following the Yellow Brick Road, thank you for coming by today. I hope you're having a great day. Van Life Rocks, Ray, hello. And you're right, Van Life Rocks. I wish I was a van lifer. We also have in the room, James Catanese, thank you. Thank you, my friend, for coming, and thank you for the Roy and Becky raid. Maggie2263, thank you, dear, for coming. Linda Barker, thank you for coming. So glad you're here. Artist on the Road, hello and good morning, and thank you. So, who else do we got here? I think we're at the bottom of the list so far. So, thank you all for being here today. I appreciate it. It's always a good day when I get to come on here and hang out with people, people I now consider friend, and I really do. I consider you guys my friends, so I hope you don't mind, friend, if I take a sip of coffee. And just for a little more information there, Megan, I haven't eaten anything. I don't generally eat breakfast. I don't like breakfast. Blah, blah, blah. Okay? I don't do things right. RVDJ, thank you so much for coming by. Very happy to see you here today. And making sure I didn't miss anybody up a little higher. So I think it's going to be a good day today. It's a beautiful day here in Eugene. To start it off with, giant highs out of the 40s, I don't believe I see there. 39, 49, 49. Nothing higher than 49 during the day. And down in the high 30s at night. Let's see. Yep, nothing higher than 49. So we have, and we don't really have, Thursday could be some rain. Tonight there might be some rain, but I'll tell you, it's just chilly weather. Chilly weather. All right, thought you might like to see what it's like here and wherever you're at. If you want to share what your weather is like, how cold is it? How hot is it? Are you in the path of a storm? Let's talk about, now I also have ready, I'd like to share a little bit about what's going on with the channel. And so I did a little channel update page. Hoping I can bring it up too. I'm getting better at doing these things. All right, so here we go. I hope you can see this. I can't really flip back to, I know what I could do. I can look at my phone and it'll tell me. I'll be able to see it too. Now, why isn't that on yet? That's too funny. Of course, it's not working. Well, I don't know what just happened. I think I clicked out of it, guys. I did. I clicked. I'm so sorry. And I was, well, I don't know what just happened. I was doing so well there for a minute. We're going to do this one more time. All right, I think I got it now. All right, so what's happening with the channel? So as of today, I was looking at my analytics I was very happy because our views were up 100 overnight. Watch hours are up 69 hours since yesterday. And our subs it's remained the same. So I'm pretty happy. So we are at we're heading towards, our views are heading towards 14,000, which is pretty nice. And then our watch hours are at 13,300. Excuse me. Darn it. I have it written differently, but anyways, no, our watch hours are not at 13,000 hours. Our subs, like I said, have stayed the same. So we're increasing, we're doing better. I know that it will be, doing, I will reach my goal by Christmas of being monetized. And again, it's not because I think we're going to get rich doing YouTube. It's because I had a goal and I set it, and that's just the way I work. I'm a goalie, artist on the road. Let's see if there's anybody else in here that I've missed. Roy and Becky Travels. Thank you, Roy, so much for the raid, and I appreciate it. All right, so that's what's going. One of the things that's going on. One of the things that's going on. And I closed it too soon, wouldn't you know it? All right, so I closed it too soon. So we've got where the subs are. I don't know why I just feel really confused today about some things. I have too many things on my mind, and that's what's happening. All right, let me just try to start this over. So everything is going better. I'm very happy with the channel. I think that we're doing all right, and everything is going the way it should, and that's how life is. We are also, as you know, we lost a rig, 2 rigs over the weekend. I'm thinking we shouldn't got out of bed on Saturday morning. Might have been better to stay in bed, but we didn't. We thought we had a rig. So that lady ate that rig, by the way. I'm sorry. I don't wish bad on people, but getting screwed over, she really believed this other person was going to buy it for a lot more money. And that's what it came down to. And I understand money is, when you're dealing in money, money talks. But she and I had a deal. And when she gave me back my $500 deposit, I did say, I hope he doesn't show. And guess what happened? Hours later, I got a text from her saying, you can come and look at the rig. We're not going to untarp it for you. You buy it as is without untarping or without driving. What was I supposed to say, guys? What was I supposed to say? I said something to the effect, didn't cuss, didn't say any ugly things. I just said, karma got your rear end. That's the way it is. And no thank you, by the way. Phil American Style Lifestyle Curtis, thank you for coming in. I am very happy to see you. R. Fatima Jaffrey, thank you for coming today. And then the other one we were going to get, that we were going to go look at, which was very nice, Lori's Crochet Corner, Tina's Journal of Journeys. Thank you guys for showing up. We're at 20 in the house, and we're in a house, and I will, after I tell you this, I'll show you what's behind me. So we we drove about another 30 miles north on the coast to a town called Waldport, and we were going to look at one that was too nice for the money it was being offered for, in my opinion, and somebody snatched it right up. It was not on there 24 hours. And there's ones that are on for days and days and weeks, and some are on there for months. And you know that those are probably not, even though it looks beautiful on the outside, it's still lipstick on a pig, okay? Let's just be honest, it's still lipstick on a pig. And so, but we've been willing to look at those because we're willing to do some things. We just can't do a rip out and rebuild everything. Or we just buy a schoolie and start from there. So anyways, we are ready to have Megan join us and hear from her, because I'll tell you, I'm going to drop the link for Megan. And I want to give you an update on 30 and a Wake Up. I just got a message from him this morning. He is still very interested on doing a collaboration. I said I would even be willing to add a day in if it was for him, because I said, you're so worth the extra time. And that's a fact. So don't lose hope. He's just been very busy and traveling, and we all understand that. So go ahead, Megan, and when you are ready, you grab that link and we will get started, my dear friend, my new friend. I'd go just take another drink of coffee. And yes, please join Megan's crew here. We adore Megan, smart lady, great mama. Lucretia, I did that with a pontoon boat. It's like Jet 60. I sold it for 8,000. I told, yeah. All right. So Megan, you give me a thumbs up and we will roll. When you're ready. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
There you
First
are.
of all, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Very clear.
I don't know how to use the whole headset thing with the microphone, and there's a button, and I'm going, do I need to push the button or not?
Let me tell everybody, though, before you start, if you would be so kind as to share this out on your own social media, maybe we could bring some new blood in here and people who might need to hear what Megan has to say today. Go ahead. It's yours.
Okay.
Just tell the channel what you do. Tell us what you do and why you're here today.
So, okay. You had asked me to come on, and then you were wanting me to use you as a guinea pig, which I'm not sure I'm going to respond the way you are expecting me to. So anyway, so I'm going to start with how I wound up with Going Green Mom as a name and kind of where that came from.
Great.
So I have actually been going by Going Green Mom for almost 16 years now. And when I took that as my username, it was back before YouTube, back before Facebook and any of that. And I was interested in like recycling and, you know, conserving energy, that kind of thing. And I don't know how, somewhere in my college situation, I wound up in anthropology and much more focused on sustainability. And over the years, that's really sort of how I have kind of gone and how I wound up focusing on histamine intolerance and chronic illness and stuff with my channel. Because over the years, I wound up not having health insurance or access to doctors that could help with things that I had going on. So it's sort of just been that whole sustainability ride. How can I do things in a way that I can keep up with? Obviously, if you've got things going on and without insurance, I live in the US and it's just too expensive to do that. And I actually kind of started down the path with supplements. It would have been probably about 18 months after my daughter was born. My mom actually was reading a book called From Fatigue to Fantastic. It is about fibromyalgia and dealing with that sort of, she had started reading it because my dad had chronic pain. And she called me up one day and was like, I started reading this because of him, but it sounds more like you. She finished it and passed it on to me, and I didn't have insurance. So I started looking at the different things I had going on that were in the book.
Mhm.
And I do like that book because it actually will sit there and give you both the medical stuff as well as the herbal or supplement over-the-counter stuff.
Mhm.
But I kind of went from there. So over the years, I highly recommend anybody that's got stuff going on and wants to use natural plant medicine and that kind of thing,
Uh-huh.
get some good reference books. I have a couple listed on my recommended Amazon wish list. And Ray or Paula, if one of you wants to grab that link, it is actually on the description of my video if you can find the premiere for today. So anyway, being able to have something to reference gives you a place to start.
Right.
It can tell you like what, and especially like, so with your situation, you have however you properly say that.
You're good.
So you have somewhere to start from.
Yeah.
You know that that's what's going on. Now, in looking through the list of things that you've got going on, it was interesting to me. Some of them contradict each other. So, and like you had in remission on some of them.
Huh?
But I'm pretty sure some of the medications you're taking are actually dealing with them. So they aren't really in remission, you just have a treatment that is working.
Okay.
So like what I've done over the years, I've found things to deal with the symptoms that I'm having.
Mm-hmm.
And my journey right now, a lot of it has been trying to figure out what the root causes of the problem are. And I guess for you guys that haven't watched my channel before, because pretty much most of my stuff has in some way or another dealt with histamine intolerance. I am currently dealing with histamine intolerance that has root causes in MCAS, or mast cell activation syndrome, and also possibly PCOS. I came to those two. I also have a diagnosis with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I was diagnosed with that back, I was 15 or 16. And in that process, it's one of those things that you can't get rid of. It is a genetic disorder. So it kind of feeds into some other things. 66% of people at some point that have an EDS diagnosis will show up with MCAS symptoms at some point in their lifetime. So I can be fairly certain that if I start treating MCAS symptoms, it will take care of some of my histamine problems.
Okay.
Okay. So the way I look at them, okay, so Paula, somewhere in there, I actually put a list to the recommended wish list. So anyway, sorry, I just saw that. And the recommended wish list has like the reference books that I are kind of my go-tos.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of your situation with the health things that you have going on, some of them are sort of tied together. Like there's research that has been done, things like some of the blood sugar, diabetes type related stuff tends to tie in with some of the cardiac stuff. But you can kind of look at those systems and you want to find an approach where you actually fix more of the root cause rather than trying to take care of the symptoms. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yes.
This kind of gets back to, I'm going to guess, based on the lists that you gave me, you probably see 3 to 5 specialists, and you've been told at least by all of them that you should lose weight, and that'll fix it, or at least fix most of it.
Actually, that is not untrue. That is very, very true. In some cases, you know, so obviously one of my diagnoses is obesity. It's just a fact. It's a fact of my life. And yet I've lost 100 pounds and on my own, and I have, it affects my degenerative disease. However, my neurosurgeon said you could lose every ounce of excess weight you have and you will still have a diseased spine that is crumbling no matter what. And we can't. And so, because I'm like, I'm going to get a gastric bypass and I'll starve myself to death in order to, you know, it was just because I was in such pain. And he said, I don't dissuade you from a gastric bypass, but you will still have this disease despite continued weight loss.
I was going to say, and that gets into, I mean, some of the, like the degenerative things, the damage is already being done.
Yes.
Because you have been that weight. And I'm in the same boat. I am considered morbidly obese. I need to lose like 120 pounds. And that does play into some of my factors with hormones. Things like, so one of the things that my functional doctor mentioned I call her my functional doctor. I am not technically a patient of hers. I have had consultations with her.
Okay.
So one of the things she mentioned, because I'm actually happy with my weight, maybe like 20 pounds ago, which for me, 20 pounds was a month ago. I fluctuate quite a bit lately. But one of the things that she mentioned is that fat cells will produce estrogen. And so for me, because I am trying to get hormone issues under control, having something pushing extra estrogen into my body is not a good thing. So of course, like the main thing there is try and lose weight. But of course, because of the things I'm dealing with, like MCAS, it's really hard for me to exercise. I start getting dizzy as soon as I start elevating my heart rate at all. Like for me, walking down to the end of the street to flag somebody down, that can be a problem because by the time I've walked there and walked back, I'm like almost on the ground. So one of the approaches I have taken to that is I started working things in with what fits in my life and what I can do. This summer, I've really looked at habits a lot. And like, okay, I can't raise my heart rate, which is usually what people think of when they think of exercise.
Right.
But I can do, you know, standing leg lifts or, you know, and I don't actually use weights, but like I can do the motions that people do with different exercises. I just have to do them like 10 reps at a time.
Yeah.
So I just worked that habit in. So now every time I go to the bathroom, I get done, I do a little bit of exercise. And my strength over the course of the last couple of months, I'm not sure it's been a couple of months that I've been doing it. Okay, so maybe the last month or so. That has really helped. Because it fits in my life.
Right.
So like when you're thinking of your health situation, and I would highly recommend, I've kind of, I think you might be like trying to figure a few things out still, but then possibly want to get maybe less medical involvement with the others. Did I understand that kind of?
Oh, sure. Because I'm going to be
So I would highly recommend that you seek out a functional doctor. Sometimes they are covered by insurance, but a lot of times they are not. But what they do, they will actually go through, they look at least the one that I have worked with, and I've talked to a few other people that work with various people. They will, if they can't order tests for you, they will look at testing from other doctors. Sometimes they'll work with your other medical professionals.
Yes.
Or like I have actually gone and gotten testing done at a place called Any Lab Tests Now.
Yep.
And they can do testing without a doctor's order just because I want to have it done. And it kind of cuts out that step of, well, the insurance doesn't approve of it, so I can't order it. If I want to know what my iron levels are, I can go get that tested, and I can take responsibility for that part of my health. And so a functional will look at things holistically and try to work with you to kind of get the things that you don't have stabilized, and then they can also start working to get things implemented, often lifestyle wise or supplement wise or that kind of things, to get you off of the prescriptions, especially because like a lot of those will tie in side effects with more things. If you didn't have that side effect, you wouldn't have this other list of stuff that you need to do to counteract.
Exactly.
And functional medicine doctors are very good at putting those puzzle pieces together.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I have never heard the term functional doctor. That's a new term for me. It might be a new term for everybody else. What is that? And how do you find a functional doctor?
That seems to be a little bit of a challenge at times. So if you have insurance now, you can actually go to their list of providers and look for, usually they will have an option to search, and you could just search for functional.
Okay.
Sometimes they might be listed as naturopathic.
Okay.
However, most of the time they don't. They are going to lean more towards all herbs and supplements. And functionals tend to sort of bridge that gap and know more about the medicines and things. So while a naturopathic doctor will probably have a very good understanding of the conditions and how to treat them, it's a little bit harder when you start working in the traditional medicine, not traditional, like the pharmaceutical medications. I've talked with my hands a lot. I'm sorry. So anyway, that's why a functional is so good, because they kind of walk that fine line in between. So places that you can find them. Well, the one that I talk to is not doing consultations until after the first of the year, but she can be found on Instagram, Facebook, and her name is Dr. Angela Lechterhand. I was going to say, hang on, I'm just going to type that in the chat. She is She was actually my chiropractor. That's how I met her.
Oh.
And then she left the practice she was in, had a non-compete clause, and started teaching nutrition and I think it was listed as integrative medicine at the local community college. And now she is actually teaching researchers and doctors how to do this gap bridging thing with the functional medicine. But like, she does all of her stuff over the phone. I know there is a functional medicine clinic outside of Nashville. A friend of mine goes to. They also will do things over the phone. And I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I could put it in the comments after we get done. But honestly, Googling functional medicine doctors near me,
Okay.
probably your best bet. But honestly, if they will do phone consultations, they don't even need to be near you.
Right.
They just need to be willing to work with you where you're at. So like, Dr. Angela, you will email back and forth, and like, you send test results and stuff and kind of set goals for what you're trying to do. And she kind of goes from there. Did that answer your question? I'm sorry.
Oh yes, no, it did. I just had never heard it, and I've, I have a heart specialist, an endocrinologist, my neurosurgeon, and it seems like there's another one, and there shouldn't be. The reality is someone.
You have a rheumatologist?
No, I do not have a rheumatologist. I don't have the one arthritis. I have Go ahead.
I was going to say that would be the rheumatologist. Would be the one that typically would deal with arthritis or
the endocrinologist. Unfortunately, the situation that got me into that is I have had so many steroids in my life to deal with the. I had shot injections into my knees for every 6 months and sometimes every 3 months. That's the bottom line. You can't get it any sooner than that, for years and years. I would say for the last 10 years I've had, and then my back surgeries in the last 10 years. In between surgeries, I would use the steroid medication because the pain would be so bad. Pain medicine does not help this kind of pain. This is not something you can take a Dilaudid or a morphine or anything for and have the pain reduced. It really, the only thing that has ever worked for me is steroid. So the steroid killed my endocrine system. That's why I have a intolerant. I can't, or insufficient. I'm adrenal insufficient because it killed that hormone. I do not make it anymore. So I have to have a supplement on a daily basis. I have to take 5 milligrams of steroid medicine. And that can't be fit. It can only be medicated. They can't ever fix it. It's broken.
I was going to say, and I will caution you on that.
Okay.
Because even when they say there's no way to fix things, sometimes if you fix because like, I mean, I don't know how many times I've been told, well, if you're histamine intolerant, that's not fixable. But quite frankly, I'm finding out now that I'm pretty close to having it fixed.
No good.
I'll still have to manage it to some degree,
Mm-hmm.
but overall, it's not like I'm to the point that I can eat a lot of things that 6 months ago I would have been broken out in hives, in bed with vertigo. And in reality, when I fixed what was causing the problem, those things are actually more fixable than sometimes people will lead you to believe. And they might not think that they are. But sometimes, like, there are things you can do. Like, obviously that's probably not where you're going to start. And it's probably not going to be a quick process to try to support your body. But supporting your endocrine system, even though it hasn't been functioning, is probably actually a good thing to do. Because it will kind of help balance things out.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. It's a hormone. You know, our body has hormones, and one of them is not being made in my body naturally any longer. So supporting that is imperative, because I'm supposed to be wearing a wristband. Apparently, I could go into some kind of, I could pass out and I could die from whatever, but I haven't got the wristband yet. It's one of those things that it means to me, it had the implication to myself is that I'm broken, and I can't stand that thinking, but it's risk. You know, I have the medication. My family knows if I'm ever passed out, to just jab me in the leg with this medicine, kind of like when you have a bee and you have to have the bee shot, the whatever it's called. This is that for this condition. It just sucks, you know. People like me who have too big of egos, who say, "Oh, if I wear a wristband, it looks like I'm a weakling." I mean, I swear I don't think that of other people, but I think that of myself. One of the things that I have to get over is that I hold myself to this place that doesn't really exist any longer. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. One thing, does that implication cross over? Like, I know for a while my dad had a necklace instead of a wristband. Is your tie to that being that implication that it's a wristband? Because, like, I mean, I know sometimes it's very specific, like due to previous exposure to something that, like, maybe you wouldn't have an issue wearing a necklace. Because once you get on the road, that can be really dangerous if people don't know.
I know. And I am, but I have had issues with that all of my life. Whatever it's been, if I did not do it, if I wasn't perfect in some way, I can't really put it into words. It would be, but I'm a grown up now. I'm 59. I'm a grown up. And I know, by the way, I'm perfectly perfect the way I am. I know that in my, I have to self-talk myself, but I know that I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I have medical issues that are real, and I have to face them. Because
perfect is a really difficult word.
What's that?
Perfect is a really difficult word.
Yes.
It sets you up with an expectation.
Yes.
And I was going to say, I know Ray mentioned self-care earlier.
Yep.
A lot of things get better when you start. You need to both pay attention to where you're at and listen to your body.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, kind of work some of those, like the self-talk and that kind of thing. Work those habits in a direction of both taking personal responsibility for all of the stuff in your life, but then also doing it in such a way that you're accepting yourself and not putting those expectations on yourself.
Yes.
Perfect is really hard to live up to.
Yes. A self-acceptance is imperative for everybody, because I know people that have like minimal issues, and for them it's gigantic, and it prevents them. What it does is it prevents them from moving forward. I'm not that way. I will still do and I will come to terms with these kind of things. It just, for me, I have to kind of be backed up against a wall, no way out. Either I face it or I put myself in peril, and I'm not going to do that. So yeah, I will either get a bracelet or I will get a necklace, or both. There's no reason. It's just a consequence of having to take a medicine for a long time that screw. And by the way, my neurosurgeon one time, when before surgery, he goes, Lucretia, who is prescribing you this much steroid medication? You should not be on steroids ever. And I said, but it makes me feel better. And he says, it doesn't matter. It's destroying your spine. It doesn't matter. It's one choice. Either you feel better, or in the long run, it's going to be a nightmare. And it turned out to be a nightmare. I did not follow his direction. So.
And you bring up choice. That's one of those things that a lot of people I am finding don't think they have, or they don't see them. And I would just challenge everybody to see the choices you have. Doing nothing is a choice. Deciding to make a change is also a choice. So, I mean, like, you made a choice to try and learn about different things you could do. And I'm hoping that you will find a functional doctor to talk to. And even if it's just for a consultation, to kind of get a direction. And then try to implement some different choices. Obviously, with steroids and stuff, that always tends to cause issues with weight loss.
Yes.
But you can do things that will help strengthen your body and will help support your systems. Whether it be your endocrine system, your nervous system, there's various things you can do to help deal with those things. Whether it be essential oils or herbs. If you do want to jump into essential oils, please pick a reputable company that is good quality.
I didn't know that is something that could be bad quality, not good quality.
So in order to sell an essential oil as pure in the US, it only has to be 6% of the essential oil.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if you're paying $5 or $6 for a bottle of pretty much anything but a citrus oil, it's probably not a good quality. And I mean, there are MLMs that you can go to. They're expensive. They are good quality. At least the major two are. But brands like Oracacia are often found in health food stores. They're decent quality. They have occasionally had issues in the past, but they've also gone out of their way once they realize there's a problem to fix that problem. And they have been honest about their issues like that. And so for me, I do use one of the major companies most of the time, but I am not brand specific. There are several companies that are not MLMs or anything that I will use.
So how do you know if you need a particular essential oil, for instance? I didn't even know that they could be, I mean, I like essential oils, but I didn't know that they could be useful, like medically useful.
Oh, wow. Usually, so I do have reference books on those as well. And there are several good books. I will say I do not use them internally unless it is formulated as a supplement. There are a lot of people that do, and I don't. If something has the power to heal, it also has the power to hurt.
Yes.
So, I don't take a whole lot of stuff internally. But like, with some of the nerve stuff that you had listed, the oil that came to mind was Copaiba. because it has, and I don't honestly know how that one works. I can tell you that it does work for, at least for me, it has lessened pain that is caused by basically nerves kind of going crazy.
Uh-huh.
If that makes
And
sense.
it's called what again?
Copaiba.
Copaiba.
Copaiba, I think.
Okay, I'll find it.
But there's lots of different ones that can help support, like your endocrine system, for instance, or your nervous system. And a lot of times it's something as simple as making up a roller bottle with a few drops and some carrier oil. Roll it over that part of your body. And your body will actually kind of use that. I call it plant medicine. I came to essential oils from herbs. So if you watch my videos, I do a whole lot with herbs. And the essential oil stuff just supports what I do with the herbs, because it's not, essential oils are vastly more concentrated than if you use like a whole herb capsule or tea or something.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I actually have made a lotion with about 18 or 19 different oils for neuropathy for a friend of mine. I don't actually use frankincense because I am sensitive to it. Sorry, I just saw your...
Oh, yeah, no. And I'm so, like you said, things that can heal can also probably do harm as well. And so being certain, and I also want to preface all of this conversation, which we had talked about, is that Megan is not a medical professional. This is a woman who has done tons of research using it on herself. And I'm sure some things have been good and then other things didn't work or whatever. So, you know, I think we all know that Megan is someone who has vast knowledge, but not a medical professional.
Yes, and I am my own guinea pig. So just because I have done something and thought it might help me, A, not everything has always worked, and B, I do it going into that knowing that there can be risks associated. Well, and then getting back to the list of things that you had sent me, a lot of them are inflammation related.
Yes.
And so like one of the things that I do, and if you guys want to go to the premiere that I'm going to do whenever we get off here, is I do actually use turmeric to help, because I can't take any pharmaceutical medications anymore. But that helps with the inflammation from the EDS and gets rid of a lot of that pain for me.
So how do you, so turmeric, is it the same turmeric that I've got sitting in my spice cabinet?
Yes.
How do you use it? What form do you use it in?
So like right now, like this, I bought a pound of it. Okay. And that's probably more than a year's supply. And in the premiere, you'll actually see me making capsules of it.
Okay.
But I just put it in capsules, and then I take those like I would, you know, vitamins or supplements, or I take 2 of those each morning. And then like at night, I will have, like, my hands will still be sore and achy. And it was recommended to me by someone else for a nail issue I had. And still do, actually. That's probably more a low iron issue, but something called MSM.
Yep.
Methyl sulfa something or other. But anyway, if you search MSM, you'll find it. And that actually I found takes away the pain in my hands and stuff at night and allows me to sleep better. And that's another thing. Getting enough sleep is really important because that's when your body is doing the majority of the healing. I was gonna say, what does that look, Lucretia?
I don't have I'm not insomnia. I'm not an insomniac, but what happens to me is that I have so many things going on for me at this time that it's not like last night. I was still awake at 2:00 this morning, assuming I would wake up at 6 or 7. And I can function on 4 or 5 hours of sleep. I can function fine on 4 hours of sleep. However, I know that that's not healthy. And I force myself to stay awake because in my head, I'm trying to sort out how am I going to make this happen? And how am I going to finish that? And it's that time when I'm laying in bed that kind of happens to me at night.
So that kind of, in the way I have chosen to deal with that kind of thing, I actually have, it's one of those systems things again. Mm-hmm. I'm a systems girl. So I put systems in place to try and get that stuff out of my head. So maybe picking up a habit of doing, like, make a to-do list for the next day before you go to sleep. Mm-hmm. You'll know that it's there. You don't have to worry about it, think about it, because you know the stuff's going to be there when you get there in the morning, and you're not going to remember it because you wrote it down.
Right.
And so, I mean, it just kind of takes one more thing off your plate.
Yeah.
And then another thing that I actually have done a couple of years and try to do around the equinox in the fall. I didn't get it done this year, and I really should. There's no real reason I didn't either. Is I'll also try and do a circadian rhythm reset. With all of the electronics and lights and everything going on, mm-hmm. Our circadian rhythm can get kind of out of whack.
Yeah.
And again, that deals with hormones. So your body is naturally, it tries to be in rhythm with nature. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, that's just, over the millennia, that's what we have always been. So doing things like not using electric lighting after dark even as much as like a week makes a huge difference. That's why I try and do it around the time of the equinox, because when it's getting dark at 5, it makes it a little more difficult. But like, I've got oil lamps and stuff that I'll use to stay up and read. But when I'm doing that, but then after I do that, even when I go back to using lights and stuff at night, my body will be kind of back in that rhythm. And, you know, over time it gets off again, but that's why I try and do it about once a year.
Sounds like a good idea to me. And, you know, you mentioned the electronics and the lights, and I'm a person who I absolutely enjoy the fall and winter. I like that cocooning time. I enjoy wood heat above all heat. There's a point in summer, you know, like people have that, what's called SAD syndrome, okay, I'm the opposite. And my little sister, by the way, she's exactly the same thing, is that by the time in our region, which is Oregon, summer's coming to an end, and it wants to drag on, we're both like in our beds, fetal position, covers over our heads, saying, God, please let there be dark. Let's see some clouds in the sky. People, I mean, we're just weird that way, you know. I know that's probably not the norm, but when there's just too much blue and too much sun, and you know, I'm like, please, it's got to come to an end. I enjoy that time when we get to start having fires and when it just feels like it's more of a relaxation time because it is dark earlier.
There was a period of time, I think when I was working on my master's, that I was reading a lot on the concept of hygge or hygge. It's a Scandinavian word that it's basically that kind of, it's the word they use to describe that sort of cozy feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not necessarily alone either. They make socializing a priority
Mm-hmm.
to some degree, but it's the way they interact with each other and their environment. So, and a lot of that has to do with light as well. But it's one of those things, it's one of those things that probably spikes keyword wise in the fall and winter time.
Uh-huh.
But if you look at the Scandinavian countries, they kind of incorporate it all year round.
Mm-hmm.
But the cozy fires, the candles, the blankets, or the rugs that feel good on your feet. I'm a very tactile person.
Me too.
All of those, and even stuff like clutter. Getting rid of clutter is usually helpful in kind of giving that cozy, clean vibe. It's not extra stuff for your mind to process.
Mm-hmm.
Not one I do well with.
What was your master's in?
I never actually got it. I did everything except the thesis. And I was actually going for a Master of Liberal Studies with a focus in sustainability.
Okay.
And honestly, the approved thesis that the topic that I got approved was happiness and space. Not like moon and stars space, but my hypothesis was that I was going to say, and I'm saying this, and I know I've got a bunch of van lifers in here. Basically, my hypothesis was that there is a point where your living space is too small or too big, and that there's sort of a just right in between.
Uh-huh.
At that point, I'm trying, because like I'm trying to think when I kind of quit doing that. I want to say it was probably right around 2011.
Mm-hmm.
I had figured out that one of my triggers for anxiety was too much space.
Uh-huh.
I would actually sit in my living room and I would get to the point I was almost at panic attack levels just being in my living room. Mm-hmm. And I live in a single wide trailer, so it's not a huge room anyway. But at the same time, if you were looking at tiny house people, a lot of them were leaving the tiny houses behind and moving back into regular sticks and bricks. Mm-hmm. Because they didn't have enough space. It was too difficult. There was just a variety of reasons, but.
Well, before I got involved in this, in the very beginning, I was looking at tiny houses and I thought, oh, wow, that would be so cool. And I very much thought that's the way we would go. And then there's still in my mind, I think, I wished we could live in a van. I live in a it's about almost 1,600 square foot house, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a living room, a family room. And by the way, being disabled, having these other ableness, one of the things that is most difficult for me to do is things like dusting. I find I have to sit down I sit in one area and I dust, and then I give myself a break. And then I move to the other area, and I can't wait for the day when I do not have to worry about that kind of thing, you know. But I think there's, uh-huh.
I don't dust.
Ah, good for you. Good for you.
I'll just, I'll brush it off if it gets too thick.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I hear you. It's sometimes
Choose
it's
what
just,
you worry about.
yeah. It's those are the kind of things I'm like, please don't let anybody come over to my house that doesn't know me well, because there was a day when I mopped my living room or mopped my kitchen and bathrooms every single day. And I had one guy, a friend of ours, say, because he would always bring over T-bones in the morning for me to make T-bone and egg breakfast for Richard and I. And he would say, Lucretia, we could eat off your bathroom floor. And I took pride in that. And so, I have a care assistant and I get some assistance with that kind of thing, but I like to do it. It's not like I'm lazy. Johnny's Journey, hello. Let's say hello to a couple people, and then we will, in a couple minutes, head over to your, you are doing a, premiere. I knew the word was right there. You're going to be doing a premiere here in a few minutes, and we will raid your premiere. And so I want to ask you one last question about the information I sent you. So do we pee out all those vitamins? So I've in the last 6 months started implementing more of those supplements. I'm doing the best I can with the limited knowledge I have about vitamins, because one of the consequences of last year, I had 3 major surgeries. I had a huge fusion in January. 3 months later, I chose to have one knee replaced, and 3 months later, I had the other knee replaced. And in between those replacements, each knee was injured by a dog.
No.
Yes, and unintentionally, but when you have 100-pound German Shepherd, just flip around really quick and hit your quadriceps. What I did is I damaged the quadriceps in both legs, and I had to be hospitalized both times because my leg would not extend. And so anyways, it's been a gigantic recovery. My body's been in a recovery every 6 months or so for 10 years. And so I get tired. And it's not because I've done anything. It's because my body has never really been recovered for 10 years. And last year it was just hit hard. And so I've started implementing those supplements, thinking the CoQ10 would be useful, and the C. But do we just pee that stuff out, or is some of it actually useful?
So it depends.
Okay.
So you've got 2 different types of vitamins. You've got fat soluble and you've got water soluble.
Right.
With the water soluble vitamins, your body will use what it needs and you will pee out the rest.
Okay.
So that would be things like vitamin C. But then you also have fat soluble like vitamin D, and you can actually get to the point you have too much of it in your system. Because it builds up.
Right.
And trust me, I know this because I did it. So real quick, I have kind of struggled with my vitamin D levels for several years now. And I'm in northern Indiana, if you guys don't know that. And up here, it's very common for people to be vitamin D deficient, especially during the winter. I guess, again, if you don't know how you get vitamin D, your body will actually make it from the sun if you expose your skin to sunlight.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have a certain amount of like UVA or UVB or whatever. So you get to a certain point up on the earth and you don't have enough of those UV rays to do that during the winter. But like I was taking 5,000 IUs in the morning and 5,000 IUs at night. And we came off of winter and I didn't reduce it. Why? It slipped my brain. And then, well, and actually I had even had testing done in March and I was still low, even at 5,000. So I had upped it to 10 in March. And then by May, when I started demoing the deck that I had outside, you know, in full sun for like 2 or 3 hours a day, all of a sudden I was getting enough even just from sunlight. So in case you need to know, and the way a lot of these work, the symptoms for deficiencies in vitamins are often the same as for when you have too much of the vitamin.
Okay.
So like I was sweating profusely. I could be doing almost nothing and I would just be beating up in sweat. The best thing I really had to compare it to was when my dad was in the hospital after his open heart surgery and his legs were swollen with fluid to the point like it would just seep out of them. That was kind of what I was doing because my body was trying to get rid of the excess vitamin D any way it could. And your skin is a very large organ to do that with. So anyway, be careful what you're taking and don't assume you're
okay.
Obviously use common sense. If you're taking a whole lot of something and you start having reaction, just back off of it or quit taking it for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I just want to thank you. I really, I picked up some information today that I think I needed. And I'm really excited to watch your premiere and I want to thank everybody. So I'm going to drop you down. I appreciate that you came on today. This whole world of supplements, vitamins, naturopathic kind of approach to health, dealing with not just the symptoms, but getting to root causes. I think most of us would like to have that have, any ongoing issues, have those things dealt with. And this new doctor thing, what did you call it? It's a
functional medicine doctor.
Functional medicine doctor. Okay.
And just so you're aware, they will typically not only look at like vitamins, supplements, they will also look at diet and that kind of consumption as well, because theoretically, in a perfect world, we would get everything we need from the food that we eat.
Exactly.
So,
and some of us don't. So thank you so much for coming on today. And I do look forward to running over and seeing your
video.
Yes, your video. I'm very excited to see what you have to say there. So thank you. Is there any last words you have for us?
I don't think so. Use common sense.
Okay.
Ask lots of questions. And a lot of times the slower, the simpler, the kind of the smallest thing is often the best.
Okay.
Like, just do things a little bit at a time.
Okay.
I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think that that's a great way to approach it. So I'm going to drop you down, let you go get ready for your premiere, and I will see you over there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lucretia.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, guys. So that was a wonderful bit of information that I didn't have in some ways. It's weird how some of this is just common sense. And I think slowing down, looking at, individually our profiles, whatever health issues we have, and what is the root cause? Can we deal with that? Or do we need some supplements? Is like a baseline to start with. So I have a 2:00 appointment with someone to look at a 1989. I can't think of the name. I have it right here. Just 1 second. No, I don't. I closed it. Anyways, at 2 o'clock, we're going to look at a motorhome that's like just 6 miles from us, 6 miles. And if we buy it, it's just a straight drive home. So we've been waiting for this one. It needed some work. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and we are going to do a raid on Going Green Mom for her video that she has coming out. So thank you all for showing up today. I sincerely mean that, and I love y'all, and stay safe, stay healthy, and be happy today. Be happy. That goes a long ways too, and that can be a choice. Bye-bye.